fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I am your host, Rosemary LaChance, an energy healer, spiritual advisor, and a spiritual teacher.
Hi, and I'm Carla Augustin, a spiritual teacher and your co-host.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his series. We will play one or two different videos and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions. We will answer them on the show privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show. And no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded, will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for the dates and times.
And if you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we are available to come to your group and teach from this series. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. Please visit Rosemary's or Hans's website, where you will find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Our shows are now available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go on YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We are constantly adding new shows, so keep checking back. We are also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show. We hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, tonight we are playing one DVD, and it's called The Religion Disaster. And this is show number 213. And as soon as the control room gets the DVD up on the monitor, we will play it for you.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm. And in this video, in the Life Explained series, I will explore with you how it was possible that so many different religions are claiming to represent the one and only God. I will show you why these religious organizations have ruled us for eons and how they have influenced the path of our soul. At the beginning there was God, the Creator, also called love. Like a sun, God eternally radiates and sustains all of creation with life energy. The early humans in all cultures knew that. They were in constant, intimate communication with this source because they knew that God is everywhere. We can still find remnants of such direct communication in several indigenous people around the globe. But over time, with an increasing focus on the material world, people lost this direct communication and increasingly relied on others who would speak on God's behalf. There were prophets, gurus, shamans, priests, and all kinds of leaders who claimed to have the word of God and the only direct access to God. They gathered their flock around them and shepherded them further and further away from the source and from truth. This deception was not always done intentionally, but their own egos and personas distorted the word of God more and more, and so did the negative forces that often influenced them and purposely twisted and tainted the original message. With time, new leaders replaced the old ones and led the flock even further away. Their personal cravings for vanity and power made them easy targets for the negative forces. To hold their followers together, they invented laws, rules, dogmas, doctrines, morals, child indoctrination, special dress codes, taboos, and severe punishment for anybody who would dare to break them. The purpose was to bind people to their group. This is exactly the opposite of what love does. Love is always freedom. For instance, Christ said, "I came to set you free." We also know that he was highly critical about the priesthood. He never wanted a religious organization using his name and acting and speaking on his behalf. He was very clear about this when he said that nobody should be called rabbi except the Father in heaven, and he said that God is within us and not in any outer temples.
But this didn't happen only to the teachings of Christ. It happened to virtually all sacred teachings. Different people of different levels of consciousness started their own groups and followers. So we have Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Baha'ism, Confucianism, just to name a few, plus many thousands of subgroups. In this process, these groups, that we now call religions, had removed themselves further and further away from God, the source. We can see them as spokes of a wheel, where God or love is the center. And on the distant peripheral are all the organized religions. But they now had a severe problem. Having removed themselves so far from the source, they were running low on energy, just like a battery. So they turned to their followers to get their vital life force through dues, contributions, donations, and free working hours. And to maintain the illusion that they are the true representative of God, they began erecting impressive buildings and claimed that God would live in these places and everybody had to gather there for worship. These are the temples, the shrines, the tabernacles, the churches, the synagogues, the mosques, and so on. They had turned the God who lives within all of us into a God who they claimed can only be found in their grand buildings. We can also see it as a spectacular packaging that the religious organization, under the influence of the negative forces, used to attract new followers and to hold the old ones. In addition to the buildings, they came up with special initiation rituals like circumcision, ceremonies, chantings, special holy days, traditions, myths, saints, and most of all, a hierarchy of people who claimed to represent God, like a pope, priests, rabbis, mullahs, and so on. Furthermore, they had the audacity to insist that their flock pays for these self-appointed representatives of God. By now the religions had become mostly packaging with little or no content. Many had turned into powerful money-making machines. Just think of the riches of the Vatican. But that is not all. As I've said, since the religions have over time removed themselves from the source of life, they are now getting their energy from the members of their congregation. But even that is never enough, definitely not for the negative forces that rule them. And subsequently, most of these religions finally began to fight each other in what they often called holy wars. These are wars for energy, converts, territory, and so on. Many of the so-called holy scriptures, like the Bible, are full of horrendous battles in the name of various gods. This terrible bloodletting goes on until today. Just look around the globe. Do we now see the total contrast? Here is God or love in the center, and out here we have the opposite, hate, death, and destruction that emanates a lot of louche energy, which is the energy food for the negative forces. If you want to know more about this, you may want to watch my video on Why Do We Kill and another one on evil. Now, of course, everything negative also has a positive. We know that some members of these organizations also do some impressive charity work to help out the needy. This is done by countless people who work selflessly and truly express the love of God in their own personal way. But unfortunately, such goodwill is not found by the ones who rule and manipulate these organizations. You may ask, why does it matter so much if we are a member of a religious organization or not? The answer may be surprising. It all depends on the intensity of our identification with our religious belief. If we are emotionally strongly attached to a specific religion, then this attachment influences the vibration of our soul. It can become the dominant vibration of our soul, and after our earthly life, our soul will follow the law of attraction and will be attracted to the same religious groups of souls in the lower levels of the astral spheres. Here we will be together with other extreme Catholics, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, or whatever we so much identify with. And we could be stuck there for eons and eons. Remember, religious organizations always bind us, which is in total opposition to love, the highest spiritual level, which is freedom. Whether we do it here on earth, in this lifetime or later, level by level, in the astral and purification spheres, eventually we must free ourselves from all these binding religious teachings and return to the source, to God. This is the famous return of the prodigal son to the Father's house. It is the return to God within all of us, the path to love and freedom.
We came from light, and our essence is pure light. Our souls are not religious. We have adopted our religious beliefs mostly from our parents when we incarnated into this life. But these beliefs are not ours. Are we ready to question them? Thank you for watching.
Okay, that was very good, very
Yes.
informative, very interesting. And Carla has some questions representing you out there that she's going to ask me about, and we'll try the best we can to explain it to you.
All right, so Hans says, God's love and light energy and the very early souls were in direct communication with God. And do you think, when I heard that, do you think this is what the spiritual journey is all about, where people are trying again to be in direct communication with God, to have that direct connection with God? What do you think?
Well, the purpose of our being here is to remember who we are.
Okay.
And who we are is divine, perfect children of God. And when we really believe that, we will act that way, and we will start our journey back to Him. And yes, because we could communicate with the heavens at one time. We just got sunk lower and lower and lower.
Right,
Okay?
and we forget that we can, that
right,
we have
exactly.
that access, that we can go within and communicate directly with God.
With God,
receive God's
through our
guidance,
angels and
receive
whatever,
God's love, exactly.
Even sometime Christ, you can even you may be able to get the hold of Christ. But that's why that's the purpose. But then because we sunk lower and lower, then these different religions sprang up from people who said, hey, we can make some money. And that's what it really is. We can make some money, and we get these people, and we'll make them believe us, and we'll control them with fear.
Well, we'll make them believe that we're the only ones
Right.
that have direct access
Right.
to God.
This is the only way.
So you have to go through us to get through God, and God goes through us to get to you. And then that's the false belief that was
Exactly.
created.
Yep.
So I think many people do get dismayed a little bit and leave their religions and maybe take a spiritual turn because they're thinking, but that doesn't not everything they're hearing sounds right
Exactly.
and true for them.
Exactly. They're not
Right.
getting the answers they need.
Right.
They have so many questions. I once did a 2-hour lecture just with people's questions they wanted to know about God and spirituality and the whole thing. And they had questions that were not being answered by their different religions. And that's why
Right.
people leave it. That's right. They
That's
don't
right.
have the answers. They don't understand. And so it was a fantastic meeting that we had, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know,
Right, right. People are searching. They do want answers. I mean, it always reminds me, the early days I went to Catholic school with the nuns a long, long time ago, and they would always say everything was a mystery.
Mystery.
Everything was a mystery. You know, and it's just, okay, I can see explaining that to a child, but as an adult, it's like, well, I'm trying to understand the mystery. I know I don't feel personally I'll understand everything till I do cross over, but I'm trying to understand it because I'm keep trying to get closer to God.
Right.
That's what I keep trying to do.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you should do. And if that's their answer because they don't know the answers. Okay? They don't know the answers. They have also lost their way. You know, probably even worse than us because it's one thing to go astray. It's a sin of sorts to go astray. But it's a heavy-duty one when you lead other people astray, because now you're responsible for all them. And somewhere along the line, it goes into your karma that you have to make up for it. So these people, anyway,
yeah, right.
Say, but,
right. To be cautious of that. So he says that the groups long ago started with good intentions, but what went wrong? I mean, did greed, their egos, like what happened? He goes, these groups that broke off long ago
from the from Catholic,
from the God source, I guess.
The God source, okay.
Yeah, from the God source. So they kind of broke off. He said originally there was good intentions, but obviously it grew and grew and grew, and so something went wrong. So what happens? Is it just because ego gets in the way? Was it greed, for the groups to...
It's all that.
Everything.
It's all that. People, just like people today in the world of material things, why should I do this for nothing when I can do it and make money? Second, how much money can I make? Third, well, to make money we have to control. Okay, so how do we control? And on and on and on. And that goes along with the religions too, the various religions. Like...
It goes beyond the step of I truly want to just help, myself, and I want, but I mean in a good way, but and my fellow man. It goes beyond that. So people start businesses or they become something, a doctor, an accountant, because they truly want to help. Once they take that step away from, but I really want to just watch out for myself, then things go awry. If you truly keep it in your heart, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a good accountant, I want to be and have the client or the student in their best interest, you're okay. It's when you go off that, you go down that lane of,
then it becomes
it's about me. It's all about me, and you're right, you're going to service me, not really me service you.
There's something that happened that we all know about. Do you remember Jim Jones?
Yes.
And where was he?
Was he the one that was in...
yeah, he started cults, like...
Oh, yeah.
Group of people that followed him.
Yes.
All right. I was curious about him, so I read a book about him. And this man actually started out trying to help people, trying to teach them about God. He had all good, hard intentions to do this. And he did the best that they could. But these people became very needy, as people are. And they became more and more needy and more dependent on him. And they asked for more and more and more. And they asked questions he couldn't answer because he didn't have enough experience to be the leader. And he realized that they totally depended on him. And he couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't handle it anymore. And he thought to himself, his own thought, how are they going to survive if anything ever happened to me? And he truly loved them. He really did. He loved all those people. And because of that love, he thought that they won't survive without me. There was the ego in there too. But that's what he thought. So the best thing to do, I can't go on anymore. I can't handle it anymore. I can't handle any of this anymore. I can't help them. And they can't live without me. So the best thing to do is for all of us to die.
Just die.
And that's what he did. So from that beautiful, wonderful beginning with the greatest of intentions, he didn't have enough faith to keep on going with that. He didn't have enough. The ego got to him after a while, and that's what happens. See, if you
you think it's him, anybody else, you think it's all you, but the reality, any of your talents or gifts does come from above.
Exactly.
It does come from a higher source.
Exactly.
And so when people think, I'm the greatest surgeon, or I'm the greatest preacher, or I'm the greatest actor, or I'm the greatest, teacher, or whatever, it's like, but if you truly are gifted, even a sports person, a musician, if you're truly gifted, people know it doesn't come from you.
No.
It comes from
absolutely right.
It comes from above. So then when you're in trouble, go back to above. Go to above and ask for the help. Like, what do I in Jim Jones' case, what do I do with these people? How do I do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But see, that all got in the way, and that's what happened to him, who started out with good intentions. And I'm sure there's many more people like that in this world. It's like when I do the Reiki, the energy healing.
Right.
People will say, oh, you have such a gift, you can do this. I say, it's not from me. All I did was study on how to do it, but all the healing you're getting, all the energy you're getting is from God.
It's always from God.
Through me to you, not from me, through me. And I try to make them understand that. I don't have an ego for that kind of thing. I mean, it's just not in me to take credit. I don't want the credit. That's a big responsibility.
It's too big a responsibility.
I depend on God for everything. Everything. I start getting excited and I go, oh, wait. Oh, okay, God. Am I getting in your way?
Yeah.
I'm getting in your way, aren't I? You know how you want to do it. I'm going to step out of the way, and you handle it.
Yeah, you
that's
take
what
care
I
of me.
swear. That's how I talk to him. That's what I do. You know. But being human, I'll start to get excited and think, okay, I have to control this. Wait. No, I don't have to control it.
I really don't.
You tell me what you want me to do, and every day, twice a day, I say that prayer. Grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the
serenity,
difference. I've said that so many times, and I'll keep on saying it. I think it's one of the best prayers
I do too.
that they
I
ever
really
made.
like
And I
that
never
prayer.
realized that.
No, I never did either. I mean, when I was younger,
I thought it was a prayer for Alcoholics Anonymous because that's
or
where
something
I
like
heard.
that.
Yeah,
right.
But then I started listening to it. I said, wait a minute, this is a beautiful prayer that
It
can
says
be.
it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's turning
Yeah.
your will over to God.
Just turning it over to
Yeah.
God, everything. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So, all of that gets in the way, and I think it's good. He mentions it's not just Christianity; it's like all sacred teachings. I mean, it happened to all religions, right? Because people are people,
yeah.
I guess. He made an interesting point that Jesus said you shouldn't call someone a rabbi because it translates to master or title for God. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, wow, Catholic religion, we call a priest father. It is a little, just a little misleading, isn't it? I mean, it's like subtle, but
It is
like,
misleading.
It's a little misleading. I mean, to remember, I think it's fine if people have a rabbi, a minister, a priest in their life that they trust and all of that. But to remember always, they're a guide. They're a teacher or a guide, a counselor, but they're not your only source to God.
No.
That's the thing, is that you always trust within.
And they make you call them Father, so you'll think you're talking to God when you
Like
talk
you're
to them, that they get their information from God when they don't.
Right.
I don't call if I meet a priest, I don't call him God. I don't call anybody Father, except my father, who's passed on now. So there's no other fathers. So, and if he said, call me Father, I'd say, why, you're not my father.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just another their little tricks to get
Right.
you tied to them.
Right.
People will say, oh, it's a sacrilege not to say that. They've been so ingrained with this, so ingrained,
But to know the difference, like I could see a sign of respect. If it's a sign of respect, call your rabbi, or
Rabbi,
your
yeah, you can
priest,
say
father.
that. I don't go with the father thing, though, yeah.
So, but I think I can understand if it's a sign of respect, but understand they're not God and they're not your only line to God. I think maybe that's the difference of it. They're not your only line to God. Like, you have it within. I mean, I do feel like, if you're a part of a local church, a local community, and I sometimes, when I was watching this, I'm thinking, okay, you're talking about the big bureaucracy, of religion. I do think there are smaller churches that are around in people's communities where people do find a lot of support. They do find community with like-minded people trying to do good things and taking care of each other. And so that type of community, I think, is wonderful. But whenever you're in any kind of community and somebody is trying to tell you how to think, how to feel, what to do, whether you go to a healer, a spiritual teacher, run. If you ever have a spiritual teacher that tries to tell you how to think, what to do.
And that their way is the only way.
And their way is the only way. Run away. Yeah, run away.
You're absolutely right. See, what people get out of all the different religions is community.
Right.
They're all together for a common cause at that moment. They're all there to worship, praise God, and everything else. But then they start to infect them with their teachings of their way, and that's where they go off track, okay? And it's just like crowd mentality. When people get in a crowd and one starts to yell something bad, the second one yells, the second one yells it, and they all start yelling, they all get angry, and they all beat somebody up. That's what I call crowd mentality, and it's also present in churches, okay? In there, it's nice. It's nicer because people are thinking of God at that particular time. Most of them, unless you're thinking about, how pretty do I look here today? You know, they get a lot of that. But other than that, now you take it and you want to turn it down, is when you go get a crowd mentality. They're supporting me. Yeah, we're against this guy. Yeah, we're for that guy. Yeah, you're this. Yeah, you're that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And then it escalates, and becomes...
Right.
But yeah,
right,
so
right.
there's all kinds of crowd mentalities. And in church, I know someone who wanted that community so bad.
Yes.
She joined a church. It was one of those churches who plays songs when you first start. It was like a Unitarian, but it wasn't Unitarian. It was something else. And they play songs, and their band is loud, and oh my God, people get up there and they do this and up. That God isn't like that. That's all drama. He's not like that. And then they show this movie screen where it's something like it pulls you in like a vortex. You listen to this music, you're being pulled in by this, you're
That's
getting
interesting.
hypnotized.
I'm going to notice that. Like
Yes. I don't remember what kind of religion it was. It was like universal something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was, and then she finally found out in the end, the true colors on them came out. She even got baptized again. She was baptized already because she wanted to do it for, for Jesus and for her brother. And then afterwards, she found out some things, and some things happened to them for the people who are in charge, and she realized that it wasn't the place she was looking for.
Well, you hear bad things with all religions. I mean, from you just do. It's not just the Catholic Church. I mean, you just.
This wasn't Catholic. This was something else.
Scientology. I mean, all these different things.
Yeah.
Like, right, you do hear negative things. I think, like he says in the beginning, God, and from the beginning, is love, and love is freedom. And so God loves us and gave us freedom to do as we are doing, whatever, as souls. And so to remember that if your freedom's being taken away, then the love is missing somehow. And and I think that's probably why, I kind of wandered away from the church. But I just felt like my way of freedom was being taken away. I was just being told what to do, not asked how I felt about it. Just being told from the pulpit what to do and what to think. And that bothered me in a way. I don't want to be told,
That's right.
How to think, what to do.
That's right.
I love to listen to all different kinds of opinions.
Right. I love to talk about
thought.
I like to discuss religion. I don't argue about it.
Right.
I don't try to convince
Right.
anybody to believe what I believe.
No.
But I like to hear things and just
Right.
have a nice, quiet discussion. No
Right.
arguments
No
about
arguments about
Yeah.
it. No.
See,
No.
if they would just realize God represents one for all, God. All for one, God. That's it. That's what they should preach. That's what they should teach. That's what they should do. Not praise them.
Right.
Not praise other people. Not
Right.
whatever. Just God.
Right. Just
Okay,
God.
that's it.
Right.
Just God. There's
Right.
no need for anything else. But
Yeah. All right. So he said, all right. So then I start getting a little confused because he says the organized churches were far from God's light, so had to turn to the God in us. So the organized churches were so far from God's light, they had to turn to their parishioners, basically, to the God in them. And they had to get their energy from their members. I just didn't understand that. Explain that. Get their energy?
get their energy. Well, all kinds of energy. In other words, worship. When someone is flattering you, you know how it makes you feel?
Yeah, sure. It feels good.
That kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, when they are looking up to these leaders, when they are giving them that kind of praise and they're giving them that love, okay, that feeling, okay, coming from their soul, because they really believe, because they want to believe.
They want to believe.
They want somebody.
Well,
People have a hard time believing in what they can't see. But God, okay? The faith, that's one of the biggest problems. You have to. You have to do that if you want to believe in God. Okay, you have to know. All you have to do is look around at all the beautiful things He created, and you can see God in everything. In a baby's smile, in their laughter, in a butterfly, in a little creature, a little animal, in a bird, and how they fly, and all that. That's God, all right? So that kind of love we give to these people, and that's how they get their energy.
Oh, okay.
From that.
All right.
From being worshipped, from being, okay, get back up on top now. I'm not getting it from God anymore. I'm getting it through them. And they don't know that they're giving away that energy to these people. They have no idea.
That's an interesting take.
All they're
on
thinking is that we're all doing it together.
Yeah.
And people miss that community. They really miss community.
People want community.
Yeah, they do.
Right. People want to, you know.
That's why it can either be for good or for bad. The negativity that's happening in the world, the people's in crowds doing terrible things, is the same as people in crowd in a church doing nice things. We're doing it together. It's togetherness. That's what they want, whether it's for a bad thing or a good thing. It's togetherness, and people miss that. They really miss that. If you ever, I've noticed this, you go in a supermarket, say, a crowd of people, and you're walking down the aisle, and you look at somebody and you smile at them. Just smile, and you know what? They'll say hello. It happens so many times. I never said hello, but they'll say hello when they look at my face, and it's almost like they're going, "Oh, she smiled at me." People miss that.
Yeah.
They miss it. So, and the people who use religion to get that know that
and take advantage of that.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you're saying this, it's reminding me about one of the other series that we watched, and how we are with like-minded people on the other side. And of course, we come to Earth because we can be with a variety of different people.
To learn faster.
But I wonder, ultimately, if somehow on an unconscious level, we're really craving to be with like-minded people. So we go to things like different communities, neighborhoods, churches.
You're right.
Trying to be with like-minded.
Actually, you're very right.
To be with like-minded people, which is okay. But it's like you say, giving your energy away and worshiping a false god, what's not the true God.
That's it, exactly.
So that's what they're taking in, is that adulation almost.
That's what they're taking. That gives them energy.
Its members.
That gives them that energy. Just like the negative beings in spirit suck the energies from us. Suck it right in. You've seen movies of demons and so forth where they suck the
energy,
the life out of the people. Even cute movies like what was that Halloween movie with Bette Midler? I love that movie. I watch it every year.
Oh, yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
And she was sucking his spirit out of his body. But that's not too far from the truth. You see, a lot of the ideas people get for a lot of movies come from their spirituality.
I know.
You know, and come from the low too. So that's kind of what it is. You know, there's so many things out there that help us if people would only be aware. But the self-awareness is so low in people. They do not.
Well, yeah, right. It's great to have friends, family, and support, but really believe in yourself. Really trust in yourself, and know, you're never alone. There's always the spirit world.
That's right.
The real, true love, God, spirit world, that's there to help you. So you're never really alone, and to just really trust and believe in yourself. And not that we don't count on other people, but there's a line not to get dependent, I guess.
Yes,
right?
not to get dependent,
we can count on other people, but not get dependent with them. Yeah.
It's a fine line.
So when he says, and I'm quoting, negative forces get a hold of them and they want more. So the negative forces, he's saying, gets a hold of these huge churches. And so it's not enough what they're getting from their members. So he's saying that's when they go out and cause holy wars, and they go and they attack each other. And
they want the people to believe.
They need other people that belong to different religions. They want them to bring them in, and if you don't bring them in, then we kill you, kind of thing.
Right.
We just get rid of you if you don't come into ours.
That's what the holy wars were. People don't know what they really were.
No.
They were killing people, the churches, the Catholic Church. They were killing people who didn't believe. At first, they were killing people, the Romans were killing people who believed. Okay? And then after Christ, down the line, they started killing people who didn't believe. And They did torture. It was awful. The things they did to them was, just horrendous in the name of God. And you got to believe, God, they're representing God, would never do anything like that.
Right.
Would you ever
No.
worship someone who would do that to you?
No.
So you look at these people and you can't think that they are for real, that they are goodness and mercy. They're not.
So, okay, so there's all this fighting of other religious organizations. So, and he said in his quote, negative forces get a hold of them and want more. So what are the negative forces?
Negative forces are coming from demon.
Okay.
Or Satan.
Let's talk about
Let's say
that a little
Satan.
bit.
They call
Okay.
him Baal, B-A-A-L, or Satan. They call him from him and his henchmen, or like a mafia man will have all these people in the mafia who will go out and enforce all these things in all these cities and towns. Well, he has his people too, and they come. They're people who believe and worship in him, that he's going to be the new leader of the universe, right? They think, and they go out and they come around us. The more light, the more that you believe in God, the more light that you have, that they can see. You picture, an airplane at night when you look down and you see all the lights down there. Okay, from the street lights and whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same thing out in the universe, in the spirit world. We are like these lights, and they are attracted to us because they know when they come here, if they could just get some of the energy from us. And the only way they can get the energy is when we get angry, when you have these crowds of people doing these horrible things, when you're committing something awful, you give off that negative energy. They can only take in the negative. That's all they want. So that negative energy comes out like sparks, and they just suck it right in. And that energy is part of your good energy, so you start to get depleted.
You start to get depleted. So it's like, that's what I was going to ask. Is like, so what happens to you then if they're
Get weaker and
you're
weaker.
just getting weaker and weaker, and then you're more apt to listen to negativity.
That's right.
So there it goes, right? The snowball effect.
That's right.
It just keeps going and going. Yeah.
The angels, when they come around you, they're only giving.
Only giving, always.
Yeah, that's it. They're giving. They don't take anything.
They never
from you.
ask anything of you.
Never.
I always say that. If you're hearing an angel ask something of you, you're not hearing from your angels. They never ask.
Nope.
They only give.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for, to lead you, to
Right.
guide you, to help you, to
Right.
teach you, to wake you up.
Right.
Okay, but
Right.
that's it.
Right. But they'll never tell you something
No, they never
negative.
take anything from you. Never.
And never tell you anything negative. They
no.
never say anything to you
No,
like
never negative.
you're no good or you're a loser. That's a different voice in your head.
Yeah.
That's never angelic.
No.
That voice in your head.
Never.
No, never
Never,
listen.
never.
Don't listen to that.
No.
Yeah.
No. But they do.
Yeah. All right.
sad.
Now, I watched this a couple of times on my own, and then the last time I watched it, I'm like, what's he saying? I never heard the expression loosh energy, and it's spelled L-O-O-S-H, and he
Yeah.
had it up there on the screen. I'm like, loosh energy, what's that? That's new for me.
Yep, loosh energy. And it's
Yeah.
a term, it's a thing that people didn't know. And I looked it up so I could have a meaning to write down this
Yes.
and read you this instead of trying to explain it myself.
Yeah.
It's a New Age term applied to energy produced by human beings that other entities use to feed from.
Okay.
What I was just telling you, okay?
Yeah.
It's also used to refer to the energy that is produced by suffering that entities feed. That is produced by suffering that entities feed. In other words, our suffering, they also
Right.
feed off this.
Right.
The bad negative energy, the depression. The that kind of thing. And it says, people are being demonically possessed, and the force which is doing the possessing is a group of non-human negative entities. And that loosh energy is the negative energy that they grab.
That we
Yeah.
give off.
They can't take in the good stuff. They can't take in the good energy. The vibration isn't there. And they could even, they have to get away from it because it would like burn them, so to speak. They can only
Yeah.
take in the dark energy that we give out. And we give it out every time we think negatively, every time we fight, every time we do terrible, negative things. And everybody out there, you know what's negative. You know what that means. If it's not a loving thought, it's negative. Okay? We get angry and we scream and yell at someone.
Yeah.
Giving off that energy, and they're going,
It's like, stop it.
more. And
Yeah.
they talk to you in your mind, and they tell you, you know,
Yeah.
things like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the voice saying, you have the right to be angry. How dare somebody do that to you? You have the right. In fact, you have the right to be really angry. You have the right to push them. You have the right to,
Shove them, to hit
shove
them.
to get at them, to get back at them, to get
Exactly.
other people to hate them. Like you know, and you just keep hearing that. So when we do this, and we all know this, like when we've been in a bad mood and we bite someone's head off, and we think afterwards, I shouldn't have done that, because we know that I think we feel that negative energy leave us in a way, you know. So that's the loose energy, and that's what non-human entities feed off of.
That's right.
Oh wow,
That's the
a new one
nectar
on
for
me.
them.
Wow,
That keeps them strong,
Yeah.
keeps them doing more.
Okay.
That's what they are, and they love it.
So that's where they hang out.
The more
Yeah.
negativity we produce, the stronger they get.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I know.
It's really something.
I know.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. I don't know how to make people believe it. Just to say, you don't have to believe us, right? You can go
Right.
out. There's all kind of information out there. You can find out from these people all this good information if you want to really know. You know.
Yeah, reading it. I mean, this is why I love the spiritual journey, because I feel like I'm a spiritual teacher, but I'll always be a student too.
Me too.
You know, I always feel like I'll
Exactly.
be a student, because there's so much information that's out there. And when you feel good about it, I mean, this is the thing, going down the spiritual path, I feel better about myself. I feel better about other people, you know, and I know I'm inching along trying to be a better person, you know, and I know when I'm giving off negativity, I don't like it, you know.
But
so,
we do it.
but
We are
do.
human.
We're
We're in these
human.
human bodies.
Right.
And yes, it's going to
But
happen.
if we know to stop it,
Right.
if we just stop
After a
it and
time.
say, no, forgive me, sorry, and then I'm moving on.
Right. And we're
Yeah.
forgiven. As soon as we
Immediately.
are really sorry, we're forgiven.
Right.
He's not holding against us, say, oh, no, I can't forgive you for that one.
No, we're always forgiven.
They're not like that, you know.
Right.
No.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Okay, so then he says, so all negativity does have a positive, like the churches will do charitable work, and he showed a picture of Mother Teresa. But do you think it has an equal balance of positive and negative? I mean, does there always
With
have to be
churches?
an equal balance of positive and negative out in the universe? Because he was saying, I thought he said all negativity has a positive, and then he went into how, like, charitable work is done with churches, you know, and Mother
Yeah, that's a
Teresa
good thing.
was supported, you know, to do her charitable work. But I got to thinking, is there an equal balance of negative and positive? Or is it just a little bit of positive, you know?
when in what? In doing this work?
And in the churches, the organized churches, you know, the
Oh,
part
I
of
think
the
that there
disaster.
are some people, you know, priests in the churches. We'll have to take, and we could take preachers in other kinds of churches, or whatever, rabbis. I think there are some of them that really love God and really think that they're doing the right thing and really believe in the people over them and what they teach. Oh, I think they do. I've met some wonderful people, but when I was a little girl and went to church, every time we get a priest that we loved so much, they'd transfer him away. I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and I've talked to other people about that. Yeah, whatever. Father Blanchard, I remember when I was at St. John's Church in New Haven. Oh, he was wonderful. They transferred him away. I don't think they want a priest to become really popular. They brought another person in who was really grouchy and miserable, and he's still there. I don't know what's that's all about, but maybe, I don't know, maybe because
Who
that
knows?
other priest was really nice, and maybe he was starting to wake up and realize that there are things that go on in different religions that are not good. And maybe
Right.
he was starting to realize that because he was a beautiful soul. Beautiful soul.
Well, hopefully he rose in the ranks,
Yeah.
so to speak, if that's what you
or
want
maybe
as
he
a
left,
beautiful soul.
He left
yeah.
the religion and did something
You know,
for himself. Yeah.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, there are people in that do good things, and there are people who go to these churches and join and start all these groups and everything else. But unfortunately, the really higher ups, as you get more and more, they're supported by the money that people collect. You know, that you support them. You buy their groceries and their wine and their cigars and their trips and their limos and their clothes and all that stuff. Why do we need that? Why do we need to do that? Why do we need these people? We don't need them. We can go right to God. But people think, well, here's one of the reasons. A lot of them tell you without your religion, you won't go to heaven. I don't know much about the other religions, but I know that the Catholics teach that no matter what you do, if you go to confession and you do your penance and you get the host the next day in church, that all the sins are gone. Now, when I was a little kid, I loved that. I'd go walk home from school and I'd say, the church, I'd say, I'm clean inside and out. I'm feeling so good. I'm just a beautiful person. And the next day I would do something. All of a sudden I get another sin and another sin and another. Oh, God, we'll go back to church.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one. Number two is that if you get your last rites when you're dying, no matter what you did, you're going to heaven, right up to heaven. They all think you're going to die and go right to heaven. You don't go right to heaven. Because what have you learned? What have you, if you're not a nice person and you don't realize what you've done wrong and you are not trying to make it up, you're not going to heaven.
Right. It isn't all's forgiven and forgotten as soon as we cross over.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're still loved.
Right.
But there is some.
You have to realize and wake up.
There's remedial
and
work here.
Right.
There's stuff you have to.
Exactly.
You do have to atone.
I know.
For your actions and how you behaved on
But they're
this
teaching
planet.
you the easy way. They're saying,
don't worry.
Stay with me, you stay and do this, and you'll go right to heaven.
Well, it always bothered me. But if you don't have it done, then it's curtains
Say that
for
again?
you. You know, if you don't receive last rites, then.
It's curtains, baby.
Yeah, it's curtains, baby.
Throw them right down there to eternal.
And, if you don't get baptized, it's like, and if you don't get, and that, I don't know, that always used to bother me as a kid because it just sounded so risky. Like you could be.
Remember, you just brought something up, baptism. Some of the, I don't know about the other ones, but the Catholic Church baptizes you when you're a baby before you know what you're doing. And they say it's original sin. What is original sin? Oh, they say Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. I love that story. It's a nice fantasy story, but Adam and Eve, what the original sin is, and they don't even know it themselves, is the fall. Is when we left.
Oh, right.
That's the original sin.
Right, when we left.
But baptizing into a group who is going to, from then on, control your life is not the answer. You know what I mean? But it's all so pretty and so nice and so seeming holy-like and this and that. And I can understand. When I was a kid, I did too.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so great.
Yeah, and I think if people receive peace from it, I think it's not a bad thing. I don't think religion's a bad thing, unfortunately. I find that when I was listening to him, I'm thinking, okay, religion's no different than the other institutions, right? So I was a sociology major, so there's, I don't know, something like 7 or 9 institutions. So there's religion, there's health, medicine, there's politics, of course, government, there's education. So you think about those major, even recreation, you think about those major institutions, they all can get corrupt.
Oh,
I mean, we do need government, we do need a form of order, but government can't get corrupt. It is nice to say everybody be educated, but the educational system can get a little corrupt. Medical can get abusive. Let's face it, that can get corrupt. It's like maybe that's part of all our life lessons is to be here and be a part of it, but not be a part that gets corrupt.
That's right.
Not be a part of that.
Live in this world, but be not of this world. That's the saying.
Okay, so live in this world.
I live in this world, but I'm not part of this world. Don't be a part of
this. This isn't my permanent
home. And world
home.
Doesn't mean planet Earth. World is the people
Okay.
and all the things that they're doing that, Earth is Earth. That's a whole different thing. That's the plant, the beautiful, gorgeous Mother Earth. But the world is what makes up all the people who makes up this world, in quotes, you know. And there's some wonderful people doing wonderful things, and there's some terrible people doing terrible things. And lately, as we read the papers and watch the news, who also loves drama, we know. We can see it happening. It seems to be getting worse and worse because it's coming to, how can I say, it's coming to a pinnacle, a point. It's coming to an end of the world the way we know it. Not the end of the world.
No.
But things are going to change drastically.
Do you mean spiritually, or what do you
Spiritually,
mean?
yeah.
Spiritually.
Yeah. It's going to be a better world. But
because it has
unfortunately,
to. I mean, I hear different things, like, and I don't know how you feel about it, but like, it's kind of like all the universe is checking in on Earth, and it's like, what's going on? And they don't want Earth to self-destruct and be destroyed.
No, right.
Right? And so
we need this planet for another, maybe another 1,000 years or so many years. I don't know. We need this planet to keep coming back. But unfortunately, you have to clean the planet. We have to clean it. And cleaning it means a lot of people are going to be leaving. Okay? A lot of people are going to be leaving.
That's an interesting theory. Do you want to talk about that a little bit
Sure.
more? You know,
sure. But then the Earth will raise to a new higher vibration.
So lower vibration people are going to what?
Have to leave. The disasters and things that are going to be coming.
That happen.
Are still coming slowly but surely. If you read the paper, they only talk about the news in the United States. They don't talk about the news in all the other countries. I try to put that up sometime on Facebook when I can, so people can see what's happening. People are dying in large numbers together from disasters of all kinds. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
is that
take a look.
I mean, why? Is that to thin out the population?
Well,
is that to thin out that area they were mostly negative, or you know?
Yeah, definitely they were mostly negative.
So it's places that are fighting.
Because like attracts like. So the people who were doing the same things were going to the same places, and you know.
Wow.
So
that's it.
So what did you want to talk about it, other than that, or something else?
You know, let's see. Well, I was just curious about the whole idea of with Earth, just kind of save Earth, because it's needed really on a soul level for souls to come here and to learn. So how this gets flipped around then, you know, if it's starting to teeter on self-destructing in a way, and not to be an alarmist, but you know, things are getting a little crazy, and
you're getting a lot crazy.
You know, I mean,
really,
yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's coming to our own country. I mean, it's just fighting and all of that, violence.
Yeah,
and
we never used to see that here.
And we wouldn't see that.
It's going to be like civil wars.
Yeah,
you know?
it is going to be like civil wars here.
It's starting now.
Yeah, it's starting already.
Large crowds of people.
Right. We can't have diversity of opinion. We can't have diversity of thought. We can't. It's like we're not allowed to think. I mean, well, it's like what we're talking about tonight. Like when people start taking away your freedom and start taking away your right to think for yourself. You know, disagree with someone, that's fine. Disagree with me, that's fine. You know.
Yeah, I always say if we're having a discussion, we can't come to anything, I say, listen, let's just agree to disagree and let it go.
Let it go.
And my good friends, we do that.
Yeah, right.
No problem.
Right.
I don't have to be right.
Right.
But see that ego.
Right. And if we're both intense in our own corners, let's just not talk about it.
That's right.
We agree not to talk about it, but I'm not going to attack you or put you down or hurt you.
You're my friend.
Because
I love you.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Because you don't agree with me.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's not being allowed.
Right.
Today.
Yeah. So because of this being created, then this thinning out, I just find that fascinating. What's going to happen on the Earth to notice that.
Yeah, so, just watch it. I don't know how long it'll take, but
yeah,
it's a happening.
Yeah,
little by little.
All right. So then this I wasn't sure how I felt. He states, if we identify with a religion, then we will be with that group in the afterlife. Is he talking about extremist? Is that what
No,
he, what does he
I'm
mean?
sure Catholics, when they pass over, they'll go where people are Catholics and believe as they do. If they're Lutheran, if they're Presbyterian, if they're what are some of the
right, if
Islam,
they're Mormon or
Mormon,
Islam,
Islamic,
right,
whatever.
Islamic, yep.
They will go to
Right.
those places on the other side with those same kinds of people because like attracts like, and that's where you're going to go.
Right.
The same like, and that's why it's hard to break free.
So that's why it's
your
hard to
own
grow on the
thoughts.
other side
Yeah.
then, because then you end up with everybody.
And everybody's saying, you're good.
Yeah.
You're fine. I'm fine. We're all fine. We can just
You're
stay here.
spiritual enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
and then
see-
you kind of wake up over there and you think, no, let me go back here, be with diverse people again, and see if I can grow a little bit more. I never
Yeah.
thought of it that way, really.
Yeah.
I
It's
never
if you
thought-
want to stay there, you want to stay out of heaven.
Yeah.
You could stay there for a while because God gave us free will. Mm-hmm. And it's a great thing, and sometimes it's a bummer. but
Yeah.
but it's the only way things can be done.
Yeah.
You cannot force, nor should you ever force anyone to believe as you do.
Right.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Mm-hmm. So, or to do what you say, or anything else. Never, never. God would never do that to us, and we shouldn't do it to anyone else. So,
Oh, that's interesting.
we got a couple of minutes left.
We just have a couple minutes?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm
there
done
any
with
more?
those. I do. We just have, I don't know, we have enough time to talk about. Or maybe we can start the conversation.
I don't see. We got 2 minutes. Okay, you want to talk about reincarnation? These other questions I think that you have given me are going to take more in-depth discussion.
There's going to be some more in-depth discussion. Okay.
But reincarnation, that's kind of maybe a little too much. How about miracles happen every day? How do we recognize a miracle?
Okay. I love this thought because we tend to think of miracles as, somebody, which is wonderful when it happens, stage 4 cancer, and then they're fine, or somebody can't walk and they get up and they walk. So something really dramatic, but really miracles are happening every day in our life if we just open up to it. So we can be having a really crummy day, but if we open up to little miracles, even if somebody cuts you off and you notice them and you get out of the way in your car, like a miracle just happened. Like you didn't get hurt. And
You're right.
That's a miracle.
Miracle. Yeah, the word miracle is very, very misunderstood.
Yeah.
It really is. You have an argument with someone and they seem like, geez, they're mad at me. They come back in the door a little while later and they say, oh, honey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I realize that I shouldn't have been like that. That's a little miracle.
That's a little miracle.
Miracles are happening every day.
Every day in your
We have
life.
to look in the dictionary and find out, see what the dictionary says to miracles.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
See
That's
what
a
it
good
means.
idea
Yeah.
because.
Let's bring that in the show next time.
And I feel too, is that when we recognize it and we have gratitude, just more and more happens.
That's right.
I always like to get that point across to people. The more we express gratitude for anything, it's something little, like we just think there's a rainbow there for us. It's a little miracle. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. It's just that more and more that it happens.
And the darkness is allowed to test itself against the light. So remember that for the next show because we have to give our contact information.
Okay.
It went so fast. Oh,
I
my
know.
goodness. Okay. Put the contact information up on the monitor for Healing Outside the Box. Me, Rosemary LaChance, the phone number 203-627-7966. My email, whitebuffalo@comcast.net. My website's my name. And www.gabrielle-publishing-house.com. Write this down. This is where you can get a lot of this information that where I'm coming from, what I'm talking about, where I studied. It's one way to get a lot of information, okay? Now, Carla?
All right, so you can,
There you go.
my information is on my website at carlaaugustine.com, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel under Carla Augustine, where I have all my shows called Spiritual Invitation.
Okay, so that's it. Thank
All
you,
right,
sweetheart.
honey.
Really
Thank you.
enjoyed it.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Mwah.
Bye.
Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.